Greetings and welcome to another video of Online IELTS by OSI. In this video, we are going to talk about speaking and what happens specifically, what happens when you walk in the door to appear for your speaking test. So we are going to talk about various things, all the different parts of the speaking test and how it is marked as well. So it is a bit of a mystery to a lot of students because they have their listening, reading and writing all on the same day, but then with speaking they're still wondering when they are going to get called to come in and give their speaking test. So it is the only thing that is different from all the three modules. It is a one-on-one test. You will be sitting in front of the examiner. There won't be anyone else in the room. So let's switch to the slides so I can show you what the speaking test is all about. We are going to distribute it among three parts of the speaking test and look at each part individually and in detail. So with the slides, the first part over here is that it's introduction and interview. The task type over here is that the examiner introduces himself or herself, gets the test taker a bit familiar and asks for your identity as well. These are all just formalities. You don't really need to prepare for these kind of things. They're just going to ask your name. They're going to ask to see your passport, and this particular part is not marked. But the first four questions that are what is your name, where are you from, can I see your identification, those are the four or three questions that are not marked. However, there are other questions, general questions on some familiar topics such as home, family, work, study, or your interests. And those are the questions that are marked in the speaking test. So this particular part just tests your ability to communicate opinions. You don't really have to explain your answers in a lot of detail, but you just have to present short answers and one or two reasons or examples for the answers where you are giving your own opinion. So this part is only going to last for 4 to 5 minutes. Once this part is over, what happens is that the examiner will literally tell you that now we are moving on to the second part of the speaking test, which is known as the long turn. This part is considered to be the most difficult by some of the candidates over here because they have to speak for a longer period of time and they have to prepare that speech as well. So the one thing that you should not do in the speaking test, especially in the part 2, is that not memorize your speeches. There are a lot of materials on the market. I'm not going to name all the books over here, but I think everyone knows which books I'm talking about, and my students, they all also know which book I'm specifically talking about right now. They have these list of topics and they have written responses in those books. So what a lot of students do is that they just memorize those things. Now that is the worst kind of mistake that you can make in the speaking test of the IELTS. The reason being is that the examiners are highly trained, so they will just be able to catch you and notice that you are giving them a rehearsed response. You have to be natural. So you just kind of keep one thing in your mind, is that you're not going there to appear for a test. It is not a test. You're just having a conversation. So it's just like me and you, we are sitting together, we are having a cup of coffee, we are talking about each other's interests. The only difference in the speaking test is that the examiner is not going to answer any questions. It is just you who are going to answer those questions. So आप examiner को question नहीं पूछ सकते हैं. Some students, they have this habit when while giving an answer, what they will do is that I'm a big fan of sports, aren't you? So when you say aren't you, you are enticing the examiner's response, which you're not supposed to do. You are the candidate. You are the one whose speaking is being judged right now, not the examiner. So don't do things like that. Don't try to involve the examiner in the conversation. It is just you who has to give your speaking. So just stick to the script, prepare for your content when you have the time, and then just give your response. So I'm going to take you guys back to the slides. The second part over here is often known as long turn, but as most students recognize it is by the words cue card. So the reason why people call it cue card is that the card that the examiner hands you has a topic written on it, and there are 4 cues. There are not going to be 5 points or 6 points or less than 4 points. Always there will be just 4 points. Those 4 points will help you prepare the topic in a better way. So basically, the topics are quite general. You don't really need any specialist knowledge or any academic knowledge for being able to answer these kind of questions. There will be a general topic. There will be 4 bullet points which will ask you what you need to speak while discussing the topic. And then the examiner will literally hand you that piece of paper on which your topic is written. They'll also give you a blank piece of paper, some pencils and eraser, and you will be given 1 minute to prepare for your response. Now this 1 minute will be timed by the examiner. When I say that it will be timed by the examiner, what I mean is that the examiner will not show you how much time you have left. So the clock will be facing towards him or her. So you just kind of have to focus on preparing. What you can do is just read the topic once real quick, skim through the important parts, and then just make your little notes. Do not ever राइट लॉन्ग सेंटेंसेस. आप अगर लंबे सेंटेंसेस लिखकर अपनी पूरी स्पीच लिख कर प्रिपेयर करते हैं, you won't have enough time. It is just 1 minute. So basically a good idea to do is just to focus on the bullet points that require the most amount of speaking. आप अगर ऐसे बुलेट पॉइंट्स फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं तो जस्ट लिस्ट आउट कीजिए कि आप कौन से पॉइंट्स इंक्लूड करना चाहते हैं. अगर आप अपना कोई एग्जाम्पल देना चाहते हैं तो यू कैन ऑल्सो इंक्लूड दोज एग्जाम्पल्स. And the key difference between speaking examples and writing examples is that you can give personal examples. आप अपने parents या तो अपने friends के बारे में भी बात कर सकते हैं. You can be very personal with the examiner. You can also be a bit informal as well. You don't really have to just be a little bit uptight like we used to do in the essay writing. So going back to the slides, in the second part, which is known as the long turn, as I discussed, you have 1 minute to prepare, and then once that minute is over, the examiner will give you 2 minutes to give your response. So in that 2 minutes, you have to speak on the given topic and speak according to your preparation. You are allowed to take a look at your notes while you are speaking. You don't really have to just constantly look at the examiner in this particular case. So in the second part, the time taken is usually about 3 to 4 minutes. But there are some misconceptions over here. Some students, they think that when the examiner stops them while they are speaking, they just assume that they were doing a bad job, which is not the case. The examiners have a band descriptor in which they have set criterias which require you to follow those criterias for you to be able to score good marks. So यहाँ पे क्या होता है, examiners आपको सुनते हैं. When you are speaking, अगर मैं आपको सुन रहा हूँ तो I will be looking for different things that I can give you marks for. So basically I will be looking at your fluency, I'll be looking at your pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, grammatical range and all that. We'll discuss about that in a minute. But when I'm looking at those things, I'll keep making notes about how much points that I can give you on this particular thing. If अगर आपका रिस्पॉन्स फुल्ली सेटिस्फैक्टरी है तो मुझे ज़्यादा सुनने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. आई कैन जस्ट स्टॉप यू विद इन द फर्स्ट 30 to 40 seconds बिकॉज आई एम हाईली सेटिस्फाइड विथ वॉट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. और मुझे पता चल गया है कि आपका स्पीच अच्छा है, आपने सारे पॉइंट्स अच्छे से इंक्लूड किए हैं. बट समटाइम्स द एग्जामिनर्स विल लेट यू स्पीक फॉर द फुल 2 minutes. सो दैट ऑल्सो, उसका मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि आपका रिस्पॉन्स गलत जा रहा है. It's just that they are still looking for some things from you. So just stick to the criterias, the speaking criterias, and then focus on how to improve your score using those criterias. Sometimes the examiners, some of my students have told me that the examiner just stopped them in the first 10 seconds itself. It happens. There are multiple reasons. One reason could be that your speech was so good, I did not need to listen to any more. और it could also be that आप इतना गंदा बोले हो कि मुझे कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है, तो ज़्यादा सुन के टाइम वेस्ट करके कोई मतलब नहीं है. So you know where your abilities are and you just need to build up on those abilities. So let's get back to the slides and look at part 3, that is discussion. So part 3, in my opinion, is the most difficult part of the entire speaking test. Again, it lasts for 4 to 5 minutes, but the questions over here, they get a bit more difficult. You see, in part 1 and part 2, the questions were on familiar topics, but this is where the things turn ugly. They will be on an unfamiliar topic. So for example, let's say if you have studied engineering and if I start asking you questions about medicine, you may start to stutter a little bit here and there. You may want to take your time to think about things and then you will develop an answer. So those are the kind of things that may happen over here. But again, I would like to repeat myself, आपको general knowledge की ज़रूरत नहीं है. You just have to give your opinion, you have to be able to analyze your own opinion, and you have to be able to support your own opinion with a well-developed argument. So basically what part 3 requires is focus on the ability to express and justify your opinions. As you can see on the slide, I have mentioned it in a short sentence which will be easy for you to understand. So over here in part 3, the key difference between part 1 and part 3 is that you are supposed to give longer answers. You are supposed to speak for a longer period of time and make sure that your opinions are fully expressed. So yeah, that's the end of our video. We will be making future videos about speaking and detailed videos about the marking criterias that are used in the speaking test. And I'll explain to them one by one in a detailed manner. So until then, if you have some time, you can check out our previous videos as well. If you have not seen it yet, it's regarding writing task 2, marking criteria explained. So thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, give us a like, drop your feedback in the comment section below, and subscribe to our channel so that you can keep up to date regarding all the future updates regarding IELTS videos. Thank you for watching once again, and have a nice rest of the day. Thank you.